I would like to hear from any one of you. Last time I gave a difference, a distinction between Sankhya Yoga and Buddhi Yoga. And also I highlighted why Srila Prabhupada uses the term action in Krishna consciousness as equivalent to Buddhi Yoga. So, can someone highlight the difference between Sankhya Yoga and Buddhi Yoga once again? And also help me understand why Srila Prabhupada uses the English translation of Buddhi Yoga as action in Krishna consciousness. Just 2 minutes and then we will move to the next.
Prabhuji, actually, you told last time that both Sankhya Yoga and Buddhi Yoga, later it will be explained that they become same at the end of the class, but you didn't elaborate that much, Prabhu, that day.
So then there was a communication gap, Prabhu. The paths are distinct.
Okay,
The destination is same.
okay,
Whether
okay,
you
okay,
take this path or you take that path, you will reach the same destination, but
okay,
they are
got Prabhu.
certainly different.
And Prabhuji, action, you asked that Buddhi Yoga is same as action in Krishna consciousness. This you
Yes.
asked, Prabhu?
Yes, Madhu.
So, by using like our intelligence, mm, I am not able to say. I need to
No,
think.
no problem. You will have to actually systematically recall the 4 or 5 verses that we covered last time, where Krishna says, stay away from all abominable activities, do action for the sake of action. You remember? Karmana Karmanyavadikaraste ma phaleshu is from where we started. Thou shall not be attached to not doing an activity. And one, what is the definition of yoga?
Mm.
And yoga karmasu kaushalam. So what was that technique? And then we
Uh,
discussed that the technique is that irrespective of after I have attempted something, what comes out of that endeavor, because besides me, there are other factors which determine the output, and hence it is out of my circle of influence. But continuously by constantly doing and without getting attached, I can get rid of all of this. So, such mindset of performing action, that's why it is Buddhi Yoga. That's the mindset of performing action. And what is that mindset? So, I had highlighted that it is impossible for us to do something and not expect a result in return unless and until we do it for someone else's pleasure. In this case, we do it for Krishna's pleasure. And therefore, those examples were given that if you are sweeping your house, or if you're cooking in your house, if you're sleeping, but you have an objective that I'm doing it for the pleasure of the Lord, all those activities are non reactive activities. There is only transcendental reaction in the form of happiness or pleasure of the Lord. So, no physical subtle karma accrues, no reaction accrues, and therefore we remain away. Dure hai, always stay away from these abominable activities. So, when Prabhupada is using the word action in Krishna consciousness, he's clearly highlighting that there is one platform which is of Nishkama Karma, where you do an activity and give up the result. But there is a bigger platform, action without, sorry, Nishkam Karma is more like a neutral platform. By Nishkam Karma, one can become Brahman realized. However, by performing action in Krishna consciousness, one achieves God realization.
Prabhuji,
So, huh,
Prabhuji, this like Buddhi Yoga or action in Krishna consciousness, we are doing work for the pleasure of Krishna.
correct.
And in Nishkam Karma Yoga, we are doing but not expecting result. That's it.
We are only taking what is necessary to maintain body and soul, and rest we do not use. You understood, Mataji?
Little more
Okay,
elaboration.
okay, sure, sure. So, say for example, you are a suppose owner of Uber company, and you put aside that $10,000 a month or whatever to sustain your family. The rest of it, you don't use it for yourself. Now, this yourself is a very tricky business, in the sense that I might not use my money for my physical needs, but I might do big events to become famous. Even that will have a reaction, the desire for fame. So when it is said that you should not use it, means no subtle or physical happiness should be derived from that money, that opulence, that fame, etc. That is how it is to be understood. So therefore, Nishkam Karm can never have, uh, I mean, it can have a very easy definitive definition, but it can never become intellectually clear that how is that possible. But action in Krishna consciousness is very much possible, because you have an objective here, pleasure of the Lord. You are performing the activities, and like Srila Prabhupada's example, you continuously do it for 70 years of your life. You don't succeed, you still do it, and 12 years of your life you achieve immense success, you still do the same thing. So action in Krishna consciousness can continue to be an eternal occupation, because it is our constitutional nature. We are the servants. However, Nishkam Karm is like all other things related with self realization. It gives you relief from miseries or sinful reactions born out of the work, but it doesn't give you the joy, because it can entitle you for eternity, but it won't entitle you for knowledge and bliss. Because knowledge you can't gain unless you know that everyone carries the Paramatma in his heart, and these two are separate. That's the ultimate knowledge. Then one can look at everyone with the Pandita Samadarshina, that kind of a way of looking at people. Then one is situated in knowledge. Eternity is because there is no reaction happening on you. So, therefore, you can always continue to exist. You won't be forced to change bodies. So that is possible by Nishkam Karma. And one practices Nishkam Karma even in Varnashram also. So quarter of your income, half of your income, you use it just for the welfare of others. Or and when you use it, then also you don't want the reaction to come to you, good or bad. You just say it's gone from my end. For this, to get more clarity, we will have to go to chapter 12 of Bhagavad Gita. And then again, the Lord will say there that if you can't work for me, then you give up the results of your activities. Mataji, can you please open Veda base and
Which chapter? 12?
chapter 12? It
Oh,
should be 6th or 7th verse
okay.
in chapter 12, where specifically Krishna says, if you cannot work for me, for my pleasure, then you give up the result of your action. Our devotees have started joining. Hare Krishna to all of you also. Please accept my pranam. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Chapter 2, being the summary of Bhagavad Gita, might look very, very complex. But because we are all blessed and we are under mercy, I can assure you that little application, little attentiveness, and things will be very clear to each one of you. Just try to be humble and surrendered to the process, and you shall understand. So we know that, okay, one who continuously meditates that, okay, everything is short lived, everything is ephemeral. Yeah, Mataji, you are there.
ये वाला है ना प्रभु जी 11th वाला 11th
If, however, you are unable to work in this consciousness of me, then try to act giving up all results of your work and try to be self situated. I would like other devotees to read the two properly. Mataji, go back. But we should read the 10th first so that devotees understand. If you cannot practice the regulations of Bhakti Yoga, then just try to work for me. Because by working for me, you will come to the perfect stage. This is action in Krishna consciousness. Now, mind you, though Krishna is highlighting two, Sankhya and Buddhi, but the third, the greatest one, Raj Yoga, he is not highlighting here. Raj Yoga, even the regulations of Bhakti Yoga, Vaidhi Bhakti, is superior to Buddhi Yoga. It's okay, devotees, even if you are, everything is becoming dahi chawal, khichdi in your brain, let it be. It will all make sense. Just hang in there. Krishna is giving a hierarchy. Mataji, start reading the hierarchy from verse number 6.
6 and 7 but those who worship me giving
No,
up
further. Go to 8th.
it. Just fix your mind upon me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and engage all your intelligence in me. Thus you will live in me always without a doubt.
Now, this is the highest one, where gopis are there in this level, where they say that if you, sorry, just fix your mind upon me. Now, when we put gopis here, we know that their minds are always fixed upon Krishna. And therefore, he's saying, you will live within me always. And the result of that, and it is not some, if you are thinking, oh, yeah, if I'm thinking about mangoes, I will always think of mangoes, and that way only mango will be, the thought of mango will be with me. No, Krishna in person will be with you, not just in thoughts. So he's saying you will live in me, means I will also never leave you. If your mind is fixed upon me, my mind is also fixed upon you. That's the highest stage. So though gopis might live away from Krishna, but they are always living with Krishna. Now, can anybody, can all of us do it? Forget about doing it. We can't do it even for a few minutes. Occasionally, for a few microseconds, or sometimes for a few seconds, we miss Krishna. Occasionally, very rarely, and we are practicing to increase it. So then Krishna says, okay, this is the best category. What is the next category? Mataji, read on.
Yeah. Prabhuji, text 9. Oh,
Yes.
my dear Arjun, O winner of wealth, if you cannot fix your mind upon me without deviation, then follow the regulative principles of Bhakti Yoga. In this way, develop a desire to attain me.
This is what we are doing, Vaidhi Bhakti. Getting up early in the morning and then taking bath, doing Mangalarati, chanting Krishna's names, reading Krishna's Vani, acting in a way that is conducive for our Krishna consciousness, eating frugally, all of this. These are regulations. What do they do? They automatically, when they are practiced continuously, and if the mercy of a pure devotee is there, then our minds get fixed up upon the Lord. Dear devotees, this is the difference between spiritual illiteracy and one who is educated spiritually. In illiteracy, people say, oh, भाव होना चाहिए, बस भगवान तो भाव के भूखे हैं. But this bhav in itself is an extremely deep topic. It's a great, great, great science. How does one develop bhav? From where bhav begins? So the Lord Himself is saying it's not easy to fix your mind upon me constantly. Lord Shiva is doing it for years and years and years and years. So we are the people of Vaidhi Bhakti. This is our platform. What does that mean? It means we have already performed the previous stages. We've already done the previous stages. And if we haven't, then we will keep falling back to those stages. So if you cannot do Vaidhi Bhakti, Vidhi Vidhan Wali Bhakti, then what is the third level you have to come down to? Now it's a discounting process. Huh?
10th.
The best, then the second best, now comes the third best. What is the third best?
And if you cannot practice the regulation of bhakti yoga, then just try to work for me, because the working for me will come to the perfect state.
Sorry, because you're very far away from your phone, Mataji, so I am reading it. If you cannot practice the regulations of Bhakti Yoga, then just try to work for me. Because by working for me, you will come to the perfect stage. Maharaj Janak did it. And he attained the perfect stage by working for Krishna. This is Buddhi Yoga. But if you can't do that, then what do I do? If, however, you are unable to work in this consciousness of me, then try to act giving up all results of your work and try to be self situated, not God situated. Now, just quickly read the purport of this verse. Mataji, click on this and scroll down on the purport. That's it. It may be that one is unable even to sympathize with the activities of Krishna consciousness because of social, familial, or religious considerations, or because of some other impediments. If one attaches himself directly to the activities of Krishna consciousness, there may be objections from family members or so many other difficulties. For one who has such a problem, it is advised that he sacrifices the accumulated result of his activities to some good cause. Such procedures are described in the Vedic rules. There are many descriptions of sacrifices and special functions for the full moon day, and there is a special work in which the result of one's previous actions may be applied. Thus, one may gradually become elevated to the state of knowledge. It is also found that when one who is not even interested in the activities of Krishna consciousness gives charity to some hospital or some other social institution, he gives up the hard earned results of his activities. That is also recommended here, because by the practice of giving up the fruits of one's activities, one is sure to purify his mind gradually. दान देने से धीरे धीरे शुद्धि होती है. You had the liberty to use the money for your enjoyment, you did not do that, and you used it for lok kalyan, and that purifies the mind. Everything is very technical and very, very tangible. If you have the eye to experience it, then you can experience it. This is the reason from Bill Gates or Melinda Gates to, all those big foundations. I'm not talking about just the business side of it. People genuinely feel the blankness in their lives, and therefore they take recourse to, uh, donations, contributions. And Prabhupada is saying such activities purify. Next. So, in that aspect, social service, community service, national service, sacrifice for one's country, etc., may be accepted so that someday one may come to the stage of pure devotional service to the Supreme Lord. In the Bhagavad Gita 18.46, we find it is stated, Yataha pravrattir bhutanam. If one decides to sacrifice for the supreme cause, even if he does not know that the supreme cause is Krishna, he will come gradually to understand that Krishna is the supreme cause by the sacrificial method, by this desire to give up. One day he will come to this platform, from Brahman platform to Paramatma, from Paramatma platform to Bhagavad Parayan. I will, Mataji, you can now remove it. The idea was to just explain how Nishkam Karma is executed and how it purifies. But action in Krishna consciousness is higher than Nishkam Karma. And Prabhupada wants all the readers to understand that he is not referring to Nishkam Karma when he is saying Buddhi Yoga. Therefore, he hijacks the reader and he says, take this action in Krishna consciousness, doing activities for the pleasure of the Lord. So that is how it is to be understood. Very simple difference between Sankhya and Buddhi is, in Sankhya, you search for the spot where it is by the principle of Naiti Naiti. Oh, this is short lived, this is ephemeral, and therefore I will not accept it. I will only accept what is permanent. That that method of rejecting temporary and accepting permanent is called Sat Sang. Permanent is Sat, Sang means accepting or associating with. That's called Sat Sang. And Asat Sang means temporary, associating with the temporary. Currently, we all are associating with the temporary. Therefore, it is Asat Sang. And when we associate, like as we are doing right now, then this is Satsanga. That is how Sankhya Yoga is executed. What does that mean? Such a person doesn't work at all. He does not. He doesn't take the activity. Thinking of it as non permanent or temporary, he rejects them. But one who is in Buddhi Yoga takes to the activity and gives up the result. So, even in 18th chapter, the first question Arjun will ask, the first verse, is what is the difference between sannyas and tyag? And then Krishna will say, in one, a person doesn't start only. For example, if you are practicing Sankhya Yoga, you will not get married because the kids, the wife, they are all temporary. The bodies are temporary. So you won't initiate the work. That is sannyas. And then what is tyag? Tyag is after getting married and you produce Krishna conscious children so that they can preach more and more, and so many people can get out of this extremely dangerous place. Why is it dangerous? Because once you get attached, after that it becomes difficult to get detached, and temporary things come to an end. When they come to the end, then it hurts. The real test of spirituality is this. It's not that I call you Mataji Prabhuji, you call me Mataji Prabhuji, and that's it. No, no. Saying all this, if we continue to cultivate our interest towards the temporary, then you and me, we both will have to suffer. Don't take it so lightly. This is a great science for some reason. What is that reason? You have to learn and apply it. Overnight, it will not happen. But don't forget on the way. In this whole soft culture of apparent Krishna consciousness, आइए प्रसाद पाइए, आइए darshan कीजिए, that is all there, that they all purify. But just know that the litmus paper test is how much are you alert in avoiding the temporary and accepting the permanent. So don't forget that. Mataji, for a moment, just go to chapter 18 and open verse number 1, so that you know that this thing doesn't. Arjun wants us to understand the difference time and again, time and again. So he'll keep on asking. He will ask in third chapter first question. Fourth chapter he'll again ask it. 3 times he will. 4 times he will ask. Krishna, why are you confusing me? On the one hand, you are saying nothing is permanent, everything is temporary. Then why engage in this war in the first place? Then you are saying now, no, no, no. But as a part of duty, you must engage in war. So what do you want? Why don't you tell me? Now look at this. Arjun said, "O mighty armed one, I wish to understand the purpose of renunciation and one of the renounced order of life. Both. O killer of the KC demon, master of the senses." Keep going down. We'll read 3, 4 verses. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "The giving up of activities that are based on material desire is what great learned men call the renounced order of life, sannyas. A Sankhya yogi, he may come to Krishna consciousness or he may come to spiritual life after marriage, that's a separate thing. But if a genuine preacher, a genuine practitioner is there, then a Sankhya yogi will immediately minimize. He will just say, boss, I'm not going to accept temporary things, particularly family life. He will eat extremely frugally. And giving up the results of all activities is what the wise call renunciation. But the reason, my dear devotees, I am making you read these verses is so that you know what Krishna thinks of these things. Let's read the next one. Some learned men declare that all kinds of fruitive activities should be given up as faulty. Yet other sages maintain that acts of sacrifice, charity, and penances should never be abandoned. These three purify: sacrifice, austerity, and charity, or sacrifice, charity, and penances. They should never be abandoned. These activities should be done even by Sankhya Yogi. So then, what's Krishna's final opinion? Move to the next. O best of the Bharatas, now hear my judgment about renunciation. O tiger among men, renunciation is declared in the scriptures to be of 3 kinds. And these 3 kinds Krishna will highlight. But first he says, act of sacrifice, charity, and penances are not to be given up. They must be performed. Indeed, sacrifice, charity, and penance purify even the great souls. I wanted all of you to know this. That's why I made you read these 5 verses. That while we may decrease things of our consumption, but we must know that there are activities which purify the consciousness. And the 3 activities that certainly purify even the great souls are sacrifices, penances, and charity. They should be performed. This is Krishna will talk about his opinion. He's giving his opinion here. So even when you one should therefore, even if you are taking word to Sankhya Yoga, maintain this thought that these 3 are to be done. That is all I wanted to bring to your notice. Now we will go to the new topic today, which is about Sthita Prajna. It is basically a logical extension of a Buddhi yogi, a person who acts in Krishna consciousness. A Buddhi yogi has certain qualities. So, Sthit Prajna means one whose intelligence is situated. It does not waver. It doesn't have multiple identities. Such a person considers and operates from the platform of soul. Therefore, it is called Sthir Mati. Mati means intelligence, Sthir means stable. You didn't follow me. I'm going to give an example. We, most of us, wake up early morning or whenever we wake up, not just early morning. We wake up and we always think that today is a new day, it's a new beginning. Sometimes the thought of being a husband is prominent. Sometimes the consciousness of being a wife is prominent. Sometimes mother, sometimes lover. Every day, a new identity or a sub identity overpowers our permanent identity. I am this, I am that, I am this, I am that. Now, what I'm saying is serious business. But for someone who is a sthita prajna, every day there is no new identity. He first says, I am a soul surrendered to the spiritual master, engaged in the eternal occupation of service to the Lord for the pleasure of the Lord. That's it. Merely by reciting these four statements, one's chance of being situated in one's own intelligence becomes more and more, and your fall downs will become less and less. Even if you recite it 3 times, I am a soul surrendered to the Guru, meant for service for the pleasure of the Lord. I am a soul surrendered to the spiritual master, meant for service. My permanent occupation is not to enjoy but to serve. And what is the purpose of that service? For the pleasure of the Lord. That's my permanent occupation. Such a person will not get affected by physical reactions, even if they come to him. भाई, जब पीलिया ही हो गया है, जॉइंडिस ही हो गया है, तो अब गन्ने जैसी मीठी चीज भी मुंह में डाल दोगे तो कड़वी ही लगेगी. Similarly, if I have become developed aversion to material association, then no matter how much lucrative or attractive a thing is, I don't have affinity for it, no propensity, no inclination. I'm aloof. Then I may live in a bungalow or under a tree. Both the cases, I'm only going to recite, I am a soul. I may step out of this body, I will recite, I am a soul. This would continue. So we are going to talk about a person whose intelligence is situated. It doesn't change every time. He may see varieties, but there's nothing that gets added or deleted from his basic understanding. I may meet Donald Trump, but Donald Trump is also a soul, and he's a conditioned soul, and he's unaware of this fact. That's it. So I will follow all the etiquettes of meeting Trump, but in my heart, I know that if a thought pops up, now everybody will be, considering me somebody who's very superior because I have met the president of United States. No, I don't care who I meet. I care what I give, because if I give Krishna consciousness, it pleases the Lord. That is my basic duty. I met him, I gave him. I would have met somebody else less influential, even then I would do the same thing. Jare dekho tare kaho Krishna upadesh. Not like only president dekho tabhi kaho. Everyone deserves Lord's mercy. The maid in your house also deserves. And your boss also deserves. And you should be happy in distributing it to everybody. Now let us start reading. Oh, Arjun said, Oh Krishna, what are the symptoms of one whose consciousness is thus merged in transcendence? How does he speak? And what is his language? How does he sit? And how does he walk? So, what are the symptoms of, a Sthit Prajna. His intelligence is situated. Let's leave. Go ahead and understand. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, O Parth, when a man gives up all varieties of desire for sense gratification, not sense gratification, the desire for it. आ गया सामने रसगुल्ला, रख लिया मुंह में, बिग डील, हो गया खत्म, आगे चलिए. Constantly hankering, when will I get rasgulla, is a problem. कोई दिन हाथी, कोई दिन घोड़ा, कोई दिन पैदल चलना जी. Prabhupada's disciples made him sit in Rolls Royce. He sat in Rolls Royce. And he's the same Prabhupada who was right in front of India Gate in the month of June at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, distributing, barefoot, not barefoot, but he was just standing there. He had no cycle, nothing. And he was distributing Back to Godhead magazine. And he fainted. Nobody was there to pick him up. कोई दिन हाथी, कोई दिन घोड़ा, कोई दिन पैदल चलना. But it should not be, you know, even then Prabhupada was Krishna conscious in Rolls Royce or in that condition. Because Prabhupada was Sthita Prajna. So we have to understand it like that. Result may be positive, negative, whatever it is. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, O Parth, when a man gives up all varieties of desire for sense gratification, which arise from mental concoction, and when his mind, thus purified, finds satisfaction in the self alone, then he is said to be in pure transcendental consciousness. Pragyastad uchyate. And which pragya? Sthit prajna. The word gya is actually not pronounced as gya, it's jna. So that's why pragya is actually prajna, is how it is pronounced correctly. So that's why I keep on saying sthita prajna. And here it's saying sthita prajna, prajnas tad uchyate. Such a person is called sthita prajna. So what is the, yes, Mataji?
Jnana.
Mataji, you want to ask something?
It's jna, jnana. My voice is coming, Prabhu?
Now it is coming clear.
हाँ, this हम लोग तो पहले से क्या ही बोलते हैं हमेशा प्रभु जी.
The small thing, that's fine, doesn't matter much. I just, because it came,
Because
so
it's
I just
difficult.
said. Even if you can't understand the larger thing, if you can say prajna, it is better, but it's like 0.0000001% of the importance. What is important is what it is. That mental concoction na ho. Desire for sense gratification is absent in sthita prajna. And thus his mind gets purified. Why? Because when these desires for sense gratification enter the realm of mind, then the mind becomes contaminated. When these desires move out of the mind is purified. And one who is of that purified mind finds satisfaction in the self alone. There is no dependence on others for happiness. These are three stages which have been highlighted. Next verse, please. I know these are all very interesting and each verse is worth one class, but I'm just trying to give you an overview. And then, one who is not disturbed in mind even amidst the threefold miseries, or elated when there is happiness, and who is free from attachment, fear, and anger, is called a sage of steady mind. Here, the word prajna has been replaced with dhi. Sthir dhi muniruchyate. A person. Now, please, I'm highlighting another part of how spiritual illiteracy has, overpowered our consciousness. Sometimes people become tight. What I mean by the word tight is when they get a good news, they say, "No, I'm going to be equipoised in happiness, and so I'll not smile." And then when they come across sorrow, "I'll not cry." This is artificial. This is not how you apply it. This purity of mind is a result of absence of desire for sense gratification, and absence of desire is attained by cheto darpanamarjanam, by chanting the holy names. The first result of chanting is cheto darpanamarjanam. The desire for sense gratification is removed by the effect of chanting. That has to be realized. Now, Krishna, therefore, I often said, the Lord said many things, but he hid the main thing which people of Kali Yuga would need, which is the glories of the name. He has highlighted it. Satatam kirtayanto mam yatantascha dradvrata. He did highlight it in Bhakti Yoga, but in these early chapters he did not. He just says, if you have a mind which doesn't have desires of sense gratification, then that mind is pure. And such a pure mind will be undisturbed amidst the threefold miseries. He will not be elated when a so called good news comes. But a devotee gets elated. More book distribution is happening, we like it. More devotees are coming, we like it. When devotees are not there, we feel morose. These are transcendental thoughts, they are not material. So, therefore, there is no reaction. Those thoughts are even more purifying to us. We learn to cultivate patience, but we don't define things vaguely. We are very clear. If more souls become inclined towards the Lord, the devotee feels really happy, very, very happy. Srimati Radharani says, if someone is able to give pleasure to my master, Lord Shri Krishna, then I am ready to become the maid servant of that person. So we all become happy when we see Krishna is being served nicely. New people are taking advantage, and Krishna is pleased with these things. We feel happy. That is our constitutional right. And if we feel morose, that moroseness is even more purifying, because we are trying to please Krishna and we are not able to please Krishna. Like the gopis who couldn't go to Ras, they repented and lamented a lot. And in that process, they purified themselves. You will all experience it one day. That how separation from Guru, separation from Krishna, separation from devotees purify us. So asthita prajna doesn't mean inactive sitting there. He's totally dynamic. He has a very specific purpose, and then he acts on that purpose. It's not samadhi, sitting idle in lotus posture. No, no. Prabhupada went to supermarkets, he went to universities, he went to government institutions, he fought court cases, and he was perpetually in samadhi. I would like each one of you to grow up and start looking at things in that sense. Dynamism. Yes, when we chant, we sit down and chant. We try to focus, we try to hear. When we are, reciting or reading Bhagavad Gita, we sit down and we contemplate. That is all fine. That's all fine. But something else is needed. And that something else is ultimate purpose. Preaching is the essence. So that's how it works. Let's move to the next one. In the material world, one who is unaffected by whatever good or evil may obtain, neither praising it nor despising it, is firmly fixed in perfect knowledge. So, again, extremely difficult. Like, for example, Pahalgaon, these 26 people who got shot at and who got killed. Now, you may sentimentally also get affected. And it's the easiest method is to, Prabhu, how can you be so insensitive? Suppose your wife and your child were there. How would you have reacted? Would you not say that no, enough is enough? Now Muslims need to be taught a lesson. Ta 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 ta. Then, then you are still acting on the bodily platform. I'm not saying what happened was correct. It is incorrect. But despising something or praising something is not how sadhus live. It's a place of misery. It's a symptom of this place. If it will not happen here, where will it happen? In Vaikuntha. Kuntha is a fundamental element of this place. Vaimanasya. Having hatred, animosity, jealousy, these are fundamental elements of this environment. So, by recognizing this is just one Pahalgaon, Baba, Ukraine, many people are dying. North Korea, South Korea, continuing. Israel, Hamas, so many were captured, kept. People are suffering horribly across the globe. Just because it was close to you, it was about your nation, mourning this, that, all of that thing. Jive Daya is this way, we will teach a lesson, go teach a lesson. That's a duty, do it. But that's in Varnashram. For a Sthita Prajna, doesn't matter. That's why it is difficult. Krishna talked about, it's like talking about facilities of a place without saying, how do you get there? He's talking about qualities of Sthita Prajna, but how does one get there? He says one should not have desire for sense gratification. That's only possible when you chant offenselessly. Then you attain that stage of absence of desires of sense gratification. Such a mind is pure. Cheto Darpan Marjanam. First thing. So Krishna does highlight opulence of spiritual life, but he still hides the clue. How do you get there? And particularly in this age, you only get there by taking shelter of the holy names. Else you do not get there. We may sympathize, we may remain sensitive, but what is our fundamental understanding from such incidents like Pahalgam? Our understanding is this is a place of misery. Yet another example. This is a place where animosity and jealousy, they all are flourishing. And I am at a wrong place. Dukh dosh anudarshanam. And I would not like to come back to this place. And by the way, how do you know those who were shot at, what karmic reactions they had? If I say such a thing anywhere else, people would hate me for such a thing. They will think I'm insensitive. No, I'm just explaining how a person who is situated in complete knowledge, how does he operate? He sympathizes, but he does not get carried away. That is the fundamental difference. He may go and cry with the families of the victims, but he will still remain unaffected. That's the beauty. If you can understand this part, you understood the whole thing. We may sensitize, we may remain sensitive and sympathize, yet in full knowledge that nothing gets affected. ultimately. राम थारी नगरी में कहीं घाटो कर्मा सार मिले सो बाटो. In the place of Lord Ram, there is no cheating. Basis one's own karmic reaction, one is going to certainly get them. पहलगांव में मिलो, चाहे किसी हवाई जहाज में मिलो, चाहे किसी ट्रेन में मिलो, मिलेगा. Such a devotee is never perturbed even in the midst of devastation. वो प्रलय में भी विचलित नहीं होता है, क्योंकि वो जानता है कि यहाँ का सिम्टम है ये. This place is meant for that. It is going to take time, dear devotees, before you can, wrap your head around this difficult concept. Let's move to the next one. One who is able to withdraw all his senses from sense objects as the tortoise draws its limbs within the shell is firmly fixed in perfect consciousness. This is a principle of frugality as far as sense enjoyment is concerned. Eating, sleeping, mating, defending have to be brought to a level where their minimum is there. I'm giving you an example. Right now, I'm here in Mayapur. It's not very hot, but it's humid here. And there are two scenarios. I can either give this class without an air conditioning, or I can give this class with an AC. All you sitting in Bangalore can't relate so much with it. But since many of you are from UP and other parts, you know how May, April end season is. Now, in the absence of AC, in 1 hour, 6 times my mind will get disturbed and the flow of thought will get affected and my quality of class will dip because I'm used to certain type of comfort. Then I turn on the AC and my productivity remains better than before because I did not win all battles at one go, but ultimately I have to. Remember this. That's why when we go for spiritual tours, I make sure that the place to live and the place to eat is very satisfactory. So that then the minds will cooperate to hear and do padasevanam and pay visits to the holy places. Otherwise, your feet are hurting, your legs are hurting, the place where you stay is not up to the mark, the kind of food you're getting is not up to the mark, then your mind will revolt and ultimately you will not have a good experience. So, what is the point? The point is one has to identify what is one's current level of sense gratification. From there, one has to meticulously start working and let his mind become comfortable in newer levels of austerities rather than having a plain vanilla blanket approach, which is stop it from day one. You may stop it, but that's violent. But one must have a plan to stop it and gradually work towards that plan. You don't become a sthit prajna overnight. You can if Krishna overwhelms you with his mercy or a pure devotee overwhelms you, then your thoughts will continuously be around Krishna and his pure devotees. Then, all these material considerations will leave you because you will be so overwhelmed perpetually. But generally, it doesn't happen. One has to, as it is said in sixth chapter, help of mind, one has to elevate oneself. One should ensure that one doesn't let the mind slip down and pull the one's consciousness down. So when you withdraw, the withdrawal should be regulated. Sudden withdrawal means there will be a bounce back reaction from the mind like a spring. But an organic withdrawal is a great service to consciousness. It is a great, great service to consciousness. Krishna says, Mayo arpit mano buddhi. He just doesn't say arpit man, he says buddhi as well. And so what do you mean by arpit buddhi? It means you have to use intelligence and gradually decrease your sense gratification so that your mind cooperates. You have to take the mind along in spiritual life, not that mind is badly squeezed and intelligence is not doing nothing doing. You will commit bigger blunders if you take this approach. Then you will overeat, oversleep, everything will be over because mind revolves. I recently came across a situation where I was away from Mayapur for 45, 50 days. In between, I came just for a day, day and a half, like that. And all the 4 trips were unavoidable. On top of it, the health wasn't cooperating. This time, when I returned, it has taken me 3 full days. 3 days. The only service which I could not avoid was Maharaj's Vyasa Puja, where they asked me to be the master of ceremony. And I did that. But barring it, I'm just sleeping. And what's the reason? Because I have abused. So my mind is saying nothing doing, enough is enough. This is nonsense. It is not nonsense, it is service. But I'm not qualified, I'm not capable currently. Gopal Krishna Maharaj would travel continuously. I don't know how did he train his mind. He would not sleep. Every third day he will change the place. And it did have an impact on his body. But he continued on the strength of, mercy, on the strength of his austerities, his dedication to his spiritual master. So you can become a tortoise, but do it organically. Then you will never fall back. Premature renunciation can cause misery in the long run. It applies everywhere. Everywhere. Day one, you want to build body, you got dumbbells. Now you pick them, 50 shots at a go. Next day, nothing. Sore biceps and triceps, and good luck to you. You won't be able to do anything. धीरे धीरे रे मना धीरे सब कुछ होए मालिसी चे 100 गणा रुताए फल होए. Oh mind, take everything slowly. Even if you know water the root 100 times, it will only give fruit when the right season comes, not abruptly. So learn the word organic and then do things. Let's move to the next one. We'll keep it last today. Though the embodied soul may be restricted from sense enjoyment, the taste for sense objects remains. But ceasing such engagements by experiencing a higher taste, he is fixed in consciousness. Many a times, devotees are laughed at. You guys also want all those things which we want. They're just, it's your double standard that you don't like them. Many people say that. But don't get discouraged. Keep practicing. Krishna is saying that even when you stop enjoying your senses, the desire to enjoy remain in you. But what is the magic? The magic is the time for which you deprive your senses from its objects. That result is higher taste. Gradually, you like the higher taste more and more, and thus you don't want to enjoy the lower taste. Remember, the lower taste is equivalent to jaggery, and the higher taste is equivalent to halwa. If you don't have anything, you will eat jaggery. But if you have a choice, then you will go for halwa. But you can't make both of them disappear. Please understand this very, very carefully. Material sense enjoyment is like jaggery, little joy. Spiritual sense enjoyment is like halwa, richly made, hot. So sometimes you have, in order to eat halwa, you have to avoid jaggery for a while. And that's all that we are doing right now. So try regulated self sense enjoyment and gradually come to that platform. Become very alert which thought is demanding which enjoyment, and then decrease the degree for them. This way, this Bhagavad Gita will start purifying you. Now it is already doing it. Now you will forget that you wanted to understand Gita. Now Gita is working on your consciousness like a rin. कपड़े धोने का साबुन होता है ना, रिन, उसकी बात कर. It is now cleansing your consciousness. Attending these classes is similar to taking bath millions of times because you get purified. If you have any question, you may ask. Else, we will make next attempt. It's already 4 minutes past 8:30.
Prabhuji, one very basic doubt. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. So yes.
Said that everything is temporary here, like whatever wife or children or something. But just I mean, am I wrong? Like they say, wife is like from since many generations, many past lives. सात जन्म से या मतलब पिछले कई जन्मों से she is the partner.
No, no, no.
नहीं
She may
प्रभुजी.
or may not be the partner. The wife may become the husband, the wife may become the son in the next life. You will be by and large connected somehow or other. But, you know, multiple desires we have with each other. Some are socially acceptable, some aren't. But the law of nature doesn't bother about that. So, all our relatives that we get, distant bua, chacha, chachi, mama, mami, in certain lifetimes, they must have been intimate with us. In some lifetimes, we did not want them so much. Sometimes we didn't want them at all. Sometimes we wanted them as our enemies. One way or other, all these people we are surrounded with, we have had negative or positive affinities with them. Now they are coming in different relations with us. So, Shastra says that a son may come because he was a debtor. Last in last life you had to pay something which you could not pay. Now the son will be here to extract the debt out of you. you know
Okay.
so that's the kind of, so all these relations that you have, even the dog, even anybody who you come in contact with, one way or other, we are connected in our past lives. But all these subtle things are not, people find them very impressive. I find them stupid actually, in the sense that once you know the whole feature, then you, I mean, variety, it is just, it's like, very basic maths example that, okay, I know a plus n minus 1 into d, and now I can find out any term in an arithmetic progression. But what's the fun in finding 432nd thousand term? Fine, find out, big deal. The formula doesn't change. So all these body changes, etc., initially one should study them just to be sure of the process. But after that, one should know, I don't care. I don't want any variety.
So, Prabhuji, we should
I don't
continue
care.
like occupational duty and just do our duty towards
Yeah, the
family.
four things: I am a soul surrendered to Guru, meant to serve for the pleasure of the Lord.
Okay.
Nothing, no fifth thing.
प्रभु जी अनदर
Everything is,
very simple basic doubt. क्या हम
yes.
मतलब भगवत गीता सुबह मतलब बिना नहाए पढ़ सकते इफ आई एम
आप
खुद.
कभी भी पढ़ लो प्रभु जी, पढ़ो, बस पढ़ के समझो,
ठीक है.
रटो मत, और ये मत सोचो कि आज मैंने 3 पन्ने पढ़ लिए.
तीन पन्ने तो समझ में नहीं आते प्रभु जी, लेकिन
थ्री पेजेस
एक
थ्री
तीन लाइन
पेजेस
समझ में आ जाए बहुत बड़ी बात है. करेक्ट.
मतलब पॉइंट इज दैट you read and try and understand. If you don't understand, ask.
थैंक यू प्रभु जी. हरे कृष्ण.
Thank you very much, devotees, for being such I also relish these classes, though we are very less in numbers. Generally, in other classes, there are always 100, 130, 150, 160 devotees. But that doesn't matter. I'm really enjoying sharing Bhagavad Gita wisdom with all of you. And I hope you are also liking it. All
Yes, Prabhu.
glory to the affection that the Lord is connecting between us. Thank you so much. Shri Krishna Chandra Bhagwan ki jai.
Yeah.
Panchatattva Bhagwan ki jai. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai. श्रीमद् भगवद गीता की जय, श्री अर्जुन की जय, जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, श्रील गुरु महाराज की जय, निताई गौर प्रेमानंद हरि हरि।
Thank you.
धन्यवाद।
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Thank you
Dandavad
so
pranam.
much. Thank you so much. Pranam.